Right, okay, thank you. So my name's Danny. I work at Allerdale Borough Council in the tourism sector. So we've got this webinar here today just for anyone that's interested in starting to be a market trader, or anyone that's already a market trader, just want a little bit more advice, or anyone that's already got a business and then they just want to go in the market trader direction. So we've got four speakers for you today. We've got Phil Byers, who is the markets manager at Allerdale. And we've got Ellie Jones, who is the event specialist at Allerdale. And we've got Gillian Scooter, who is the food safety officer at Allerdale. And then we've also got Leslie Robinson, who works in business support at Cumbria Business Growth Hub. So I'll just hand it over to the speakers now. So first we've got Phil. So I'll just hand it over to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. As Danny said, my name's Phil Byers. My actual job title is Specialist in Markets, but more simply, as you said, I'm the Markets Manager. I've had 30 years experience in the markets industry, 20 as a trader, and now 12 as Markets Manager, first for the private company and now in-house with Allerdale. I run Markets Now in Workington on a Wednesday and Saturday, Keswick on a Thursday and Saturday, Wigton on a Friday, and we've just started a new one at Cockermouth, also on a Friday, and seasonally we're on the market in Silloth, which is on a Thursday. That works from Easter until the end of October. So today I really want to talk about a little bit about the importance of markets, and then why you'd want to be a trader, something about a few tips about sort of products and presentation and sales techniques and that kind of thing. So why are markets important? Markets are important for lots of reasons. Traditionally, they're always the centre of the community, the hub of everything, really. Long before there were shops and shopping centres and like out of town type things, markets were operating and traders were operating in those markets. Some of the markets have been running for over 700-800 years, and they're a long time, and they've always been the centre of the community and the hub. So why would you want to be a market trader? Well, markets are important for several reasons, as I said before, and they're also now an affordable option. They're more affordable, and it's a great way to start your business and to advance your business. They're easily adjustable. You can work from one town to another town. Sometimes I know people who work different products in different towns on different days. It's also a great way to get a healthy lifestyle, and it's also really sociable in the amount of times that you make friends, mix with people, with the public and with other traders, and also it's a great way to sort of share ideas and move things on. So sorry, I got through that lot. Right, things to consider when you are actually starting out to market trader. One of the most important things is which town you're going to be able to work in. So you look at the product that you've got in line and what you're thinking of doing, and then where it would be best to sell that product. So that's sometimes to say it's a different town for a different product. And also, do you want to work full-time, or do you want to work part-time and then build up to full-time? Often people who do sort of a couple of days a week, maybe do a weekend day or one day during the week and a weekend day, and keep a job going until they see where the business is going. So that's also important. And then when it comes to product type, look at what you want to sell and whether you will be able to sell it on that market. In Allerdale, we do have quite a tight policy of a balance of trade, where we don't have lots of different people selling the same product in the same town. And it's just one reason we do have success with our markets is that we don't have that. So many times you see markets all over the country and they're just all selling the same things and are failing, and it just doesn't work. So we do have that. So in your research, you need to have a look at where you may want to work on what's offered and what isn't offered on that market. So then you need to buy well. Always important to buy what you're buying and buy good quality. Always say, go and see what you're going to buy and touch, feel. If it's going to be a product to make, taste the product, make sure it's right, because so often if you buy online, I'm sure we've all bought things online over the years, and when you actually buy it, it's not quite what you actually ordered. So go and look, touch, feel. It's really important to do that. So when you actually get and you're up and running and you've actually got your product and you've got your place on one of the markets, presentation is the main thing. Always vitally important to make sure what you've got is presented well, tidy, clean. Always make sure that's the case. And then very easily seen. Make sure the product is right in your face, really seen easily, well presented. And a lot of the old adage is that eye level is buy level. So that, again, I've seen this over the years, people who hide things in corners, but no, put it right out so you can see it. And then also clearly labeled and priced. It's actually a legal requirement to make sure things are priced. So make sure it's priced, make sure it's clearly labeled. And also very important these days to make sure that everything is, you do have card payments. Really important now, because since COVID especially, it's changed hugely as to the amount of money is taken via card to what is taken in cash. At one point it was probably only 10% on card, but now traders are telling me it's 50, 60, 70% on the card. So really important you have that. These things are all available. It's quite easy to get these card machines for easy payments. And then pricing. When it comes to pricing what you've got, you must make sure that what you've got, you've covered everything. Be competitive, yes, and be profitable. There's lots of other costs that you need to make sure you've taken into account. Things like the vehicle that you're coming into, van or whatever you're doing. Obviously the rent, that's obvious, and what you've paid for your price, for what you paid for the product in the first place, or what it's taken to produce. But make sure that you've taken all those other things into account. Now, a little bit about sales techniques. Sales techniques are a thing you're going to pick up over the years. It really is. It's a learning business. If you're coming out of the retail sector in the first place, then maybe, you've already seen these things a little bit, but, it is, really things that you pick up as you go away. But always be polite and always engage. Make sure you engage with traders, with traders, and sorry, and with the members of the public. Anyone that comes near the store, make sure you speak to them. Just a bit of small talk, anything. Whether anything. Once you talk to them, and then all of a sudden, then they're at the store, and then you can speak about your product and try and make a sale. Be tidily dressed as well, and always just look as if you're interested. Sitting down behind the stall on a seat is not a way to go. Be on your feet, get sort of towards the customer. Also, it's always slightly different on markets to be in a shop. So many of the shops these days are so corporate, and it's just what they do. It's just basically it's yes sir, have a nice day and all that kind of thing. Markets are different. Really you can have a bit of fun with the trader. You become friends with a lot of them. So just engage with them, have a bit of fun and banter, and you will sort of learn, as I say, this all as you're going along. Listen to others. You look around you, how other traders work. Some of them are really sort of, at them and at the customers. Other ones are more subtle, but you'll find your own way of what to do and how to do it. But it's a thing. It will be picked up over the years. Another thing about presentation, last thing really about presentation really is always adjust your presentation. So many times I've seen over the years a stall and they never move around what is on that, and then someone will come and say, oh, I never knew you sold X, Y, or Z. And then when they find, oh yeah, it was always been here, well, move it about. If you move it around to different parts of the store and people will notice everything that you're selling, just do that and sort of rotate things around. It's important. And then look out for opportunities, different markets, different products that you may be able to sell. That's another thing that always will to keep you moving all the time. Never settle, always keep moving. And lastly on that, really, it's patience. It does not ever come in a day. It does take time to do. All the markets we do take time to build, and always have done, and your business will take time to get better, and it's just to keep going on that, because it will. So finally today, really, it's just requirements to trade. As a market trader, really, in Allerdale or anywhere, it's not an awful lot, really. First thing you need to do, if to work on our markets, you need to register online. You just go to the Allerdale Borough Council Markets page. You click on that and then scroll down, and you'll come to a little bit that says apply to sell on one of our markets. Click on that link, and then there's a form to fill in. Fill it in, it's quite simple, and submit, and then it'll come back as an application. As I say, some of the markets, for instance, Keswick, there's a long waiting list, so you may have to wait for a chance, but it's once you've registered, that's a start. Public liability insurance, that is an absolute requirement. All our traders need public liability insurance. Now they're available, there's lots of different ones available, lots of different schemes, but I always advise the National Market Traders Federation, because that offers a little bit more than just insurance. There's an advisory body, and it's a really good one to have, but it's a little bit more expensive, but it may be worth it. But there are lots of other options online. The other little bit about health and safety, that kind of thing, and risk assessments. Generally, for events and things, we need risk assessments, and we always do ours, but for yourself, it's a case of it's common sense, trips, hazards, things like that. But speak to the manager, myself, or whoever's in charge on the day, or speak to all the traders just for advice. It's not too complicated, it's all just common sense, as I say. Food safety is something I'm not going to speak about. I'm going to leave to Gillian, because she's the expert on that, and she'll run through all that with far more than I can say. And then finally, gas certificates and pat testing. Anyone that's cooking with gas will need a gas certificate signed off by a gas engineer. They generally every 12 months. Again, it's not complex, it's just for every appliance you use. And the same with pat certificates for anyone using electrical goods. Again, electrician will sign those off and make sure that your stuff's safe, but it's basic stuff. Really, other than that, to say, markets has been my life for 30 years. It's been it's great. It's never boring. It's always different every day, and it's a great way to build a business. And as I've done that, and now as a manager, it's generally great fun. Thanks, and any questions, please?
Thank you, Phil. So there's no questions in the comment section, but if anyone does have a question, just put them in there, and we'll answer that in the section. Thank you. So next up, we've got Ellie. I'll just hand that over to you.
Thanks, Danny. I hope you can all hear me okay. So yeah, my name's Ellie. I'm the events manager at Allerdale Borough Council. And for this presentation, I just wanted to go through a little bit about our Taste Cumbria events, which we run several over the year. Next slide, please, Danny. So I just wanted to put a few of those pictures. Sorry, Danny, can you go back to the pictures? Thank you. I just wanted to just put those there, one, because it was a nice sunny day when all of these were taken, but I also just wanted to prove that it's not just about food and drink, although obviously that's kind of how Taste Cumbria started. We really have sort of branched out into a lot more variety of businesses. We've had art, we've had sort of garden materials, jewellery, and obviously, hot food and drink, as well as now little bars. People are sort of branching out in sort of horse boxes and lovely little things like that. So So I just wanted to make that very clear that it's not just food and drink. We are very much open to everyone applying. And we also, just in the middle there, you can see the little demo kitchen that we have as well. There are other opportunities, not just to sort of trade there, but also kind of demonstrate your materials as well. Thanks, Danny. Okay, so I won't read this word for word. Obviously, Daniel will send this out afterwards, so you can have a good read. But I just wanted to kind of let you know how Taste Cumbria had started. It really came out of a negative situation back in 2009 when the floods sort of ravaged Cockermouth, the high street, residents and businesses. Whilst a lot of the businesses were sort of forced to close, this kind of sparked the phrase that Cockermouth is open for business, and it sort of all spawned from there that we get extra footfall into the town after the floods, and really showcase what the town had to offer, and it's just sort of snowballed from there really. Since then the festival has flourished, seeing some of the biggest and most celebrated chefs take to the demo kitchen. We've had all-day music festivals, we've had pop-up restaurants, we've had cocktail making and wine tasting, large producers markets and hot food courts, and lots of entertainment for kids, well, for everyone really, for street theatre and kids entertainment. In 2019, when Taste Cumbria came back into Allerdale, we saw an estimated £2 million go back into the local economy. This was done by a commissioned independent valuation. So we didn't do it. It was all from surveys done by an independent organisation. We had 25,000 extra footfall into the town, proving the event's worth and sustainability. Last year in 2021, we expanded the Taste family, introducing the Taste of the Sea in Maryport and Taste of Wigton to the calendar. They were both great successes in what was obviously a very tricky year to sort of start different events in the area. But despite there being only first years, the events generated £500,000 and £80,000 respectively to plough back into the local area. Just on the days there, Maryport was a 2-day event and Wigton was a 1-day event. All the events are situated in the heart of the towns, so each event is created specifically with that area in mind, and the events complement and support the brilliant businesses that are already on offer in the towns there. Next slide, please, Danny. Sorry that is so small, but I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of the audiences that we have. Just as Phil was saying, obviously you need to try and pick what markets you go to, whether it's worth your while. But just to give you a general overall, footfall counts for each event last year, obviously not very comparable to every other year, but just to kind of give you an idea of what we did for all 4 events. We had 7,000 in Maryport, 15,000 at Taste Cumbria in September. We had 2,500 at Taste Wigton, which is in October, and then Taste Christmas, we saw 5,000 people. That was at the beginning of December. So yeah, given last year was an unusual year for events, these figures are extremely positive. The events appeal to a wide range of markets, which you might be interested to know, including couples, extended family groups, and then groups of friends. On average, 60% of people at the events were with their other halves, and 36% were with other family members. 17% were with friends, and 72% were adults only, and 28% with children. 65% of the people at our events are local to Allerdale, and a quarter are from elsewhere in Cumbria. 1 in 10 are from outside of the county. Over half of our visitors heard from the festivals through word of mouth, and 40% through Facebook, 29% through our website, and 27% through event posters. We have media partnerships and also use an external PR company, as well as obviously our own social media and websites, etc. So we do really boost the awareness of these events throughout the year, and then obviously more specifically on the run up to those events as well. Obviously the average time there, on average the visitors outside of Cumbria stay for 5 nights, so again we're really bolstering the hotels and B&Bs around the area as well. And finally, satisfaction with the events are always very high, so 90% rated it good or very good, and when asked to rate the individual aspects of the events, again these were also very positive. Next slide please, Danny. So the application process on the day. So what we will do is we will send out a Microsoft Forms application form, which is very easy. A few required questions in there, as well as a few T's and C's. We'll get you to fill those out. They then come to me and I will get back to everyone in good time with either confirmations or rejections for that particular event. We also liaise with the environmental health team by sending them on who's planning to come, and they just ensure that everyone's up to a standard that we require. So a month before the event, I'll send out a trader briefing pack, which will outline all the finer details of the event. So for example, your car parking pass, the car parks in the area, or any free parking we've managed to negotiate, what time you need to arrive, what section of stalls you'll be in, emergency contact numbers, and all the one-way systems that we put in place as well, amongst other things, of course. You'll also receive a terms and conditions document, which you need to sign and return to us. And of course, like Phil said, we require all the health and safety and insurance documents as well. You'll receive an invoice before the event, or you can pay on the day. I'll be on site always, or another event manager, and we also have a dedicated markets manager on the weekend as well. We're always there to help unload, set up, answer any questions, and just have a general chat with you over the event days. Producers will always have a gazebo that we provide for you. This is put up and taken down for you. And then obviously, if you're a hot food trader or secondary food and you have your own structure, then of course you just bring that and set that up yourself. If you require a table or any power, we can also provide that for you as well at a small additional cost. We'll always get you in with plenty of time, so there's no worries about that. And we also have volunteers there on the day to help you set up and unload if you need it. And finally, the same with packing down. We'll allow cars on at a certain time when the majority of the public have gone. And again, we'll always help you do that as well. Next slide, please, Danny. So just a couple of other things to note. It's probably doesn't really need to apply to many people here, but it's just to kind of let people know, just in case they were considering joining us at the taste events. One point I didn't put down there is that we always prioritise Allerdale businesses first, and then Cumbrian businesses. We do have a small selection of out-of-county traders. However, if it comes down to it and it's either one or the other, we'll always prioritise that Cumbrian or Allerdale business first. This year, we are having to go back to charging for cancellations, although if you cancel 2 weeks or less before the event date, we charge you 100%, and cancellations before this will incur a 50% charge. But that's, again, all on the T's and C's that we send out. Gillian might go into this a bit later, but as of the 1st of October, Natasha's law came into force, which means anyone manufacturing, selling or supplying food should be advertising the food allergies and intolerances on the product. You can't really see them there, but again, there's 2 links there to the County Council Trading Standards website, where they've done a really good little video as well. Charity stalls, again, probably won't apply to anyone here, but we aren't doing particularly kind of small churches or organisations that are just doing little fundraising activities. So unfortunately, we can't allow them to attend this year. And just finally, sustainability. We've become increasingly conscious of our waste at these events, in particular the generators we get in. So, really thinking about, do you actually need power for any kind of personal items, for example, phone chargers or kettles just for yourself? Obviously, if you need cookers and hot plates, then that's absolutely fine. But we would also encourage bringing reusable and recyclable bags instead of plastic bags, and using wooden cutlery and serving bowls if you're selling food products, obviously. So it's just something to think about, whether you do the taste events or not. It's something that we all should really be conscious of and thinking about, so it's just nice to mention it again here. Next slide, please, Danny. How we can help new starters. So we're always here to have a chat. If you aren't sure about the event or whether it is worth your time, I'm always happy to talk it through with you about previous years, the types of audiences we have, or whether we already have several stalls selling that same product. Like Phil said, we do try and change it up a little bit and make sure it's not kind of a flooded with kind of food and tray bakes, stall holders and things like that. So if you want to have a chat about that, I'm more than happy to to have a chat with you. I'll always be honest, you know, we don't want to waste your time or ours. We are currently this year offering a free pitch for 16 to 25-year-olds in our small young entrepreneurs market. So you can only have one free stall per year, but it's really just to give you a taste of the taste events, and whether you would like to kind of continue, just giving that little incentive for you to kind of start seeing whether your products are sellable and whether you actually enjoy doing it. Obviously here to give advice on public liability insurance, what power you might need, timings, stock levels, etc. And then just finally, we can also put you in contact with other departments in the council that you might need. Obviously, most of whom are here today, but it's just good to chat to other people. Next slide, please, Danny. I think that's it, actually. So thank you for listening. I hope the taste events are something of interest to people. Everything can be found on the Visit Allerdale website, which Graham has just put a link in. All our forms are on there as well. So if you would like to apply for any this year, Wigton is fully booked, as that's next month, but all the others are very much open. And I will also put my email address in the chat box as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. So yeah, just the same as before. If there is any questions, just put them in the comment section. I'm sure Ellie will be happy to answer them in there. So yeah, just next we've got Gillian.
Hiya there, good afternoon. My name's Gillian Scotter. I'm a food safety officer at Allerdale Borough Council. As well as enforcing food safety and hygiene legislation, my role is to support and advise businesses in meeting the requirements of food safety law and best practice. So today I'm just going to talk through the points that you would need to consider when selling food and drink directly to the public through a market stall. So topics I'm going to discuss include food business registration, food hygiene training, food safety management systems, allergen management, hand washing, personal hygiene and fitness to work, transportation, temperature control, structure, equipment, cleaning and water supply, and samples. So food business registration. If you provide, sorry, next slide please, Danny. If you provide food or drink outside the domestic setting on a regular basis, then you're legally required to register as a food business with your local authority. The local authority you need to register with is where the food is prepared, rather than the location that you are trading. So for example, if you prepare the food at home, it will be the local authority that covers your home address. Or if you were a mobile vehicle, it will be the local authority where the vehicle, so for example, a burger van or a coffee cart, it will be where they are kept overnight. That's where you would need to register, so not at the market that you're trading on. So registration is free, and ideally you should register 28 days prior to trading. So if you're registering with Allerdale Borough Council, you can do this electronically on our website if you search for food hygiene, or you can contact the office. I think I've got the links at the end as well that you can click on afterwards. And I'll also share our email address at the end. So once registered, you just must keep us informed of any significant changes to your business. So food hygiene training. By law, food business operators must make sure that food handlers receive appropriate supervision and training in food hygiene to enable them to handle food in a safe way in line with their area of work. If you handle open high-risk foods, you are advised to complete a formal food hygiene course equivalent to level 2 in food safety, which is the old basic food hygiene. There are various courses available online, or you could attend a face-to-face course if that's preferred. But it isn't always necessary to attend a formal course. If your business is lower risk, you could meet these requirements through self-study or on-the-job training or previous experience. But if you please contact us for advice, we'll be able to advise, you know, what's best for your business. If you do an online course, we do suggest that you renew it every 3 to 5 years, just so that you're keeping up to date with legislation. So food safety management systems, one of the key requirements of food safety law is that you must have written down what you do to provide food that is safe to eat. Now, in practice, this means that you have to have procedures in place to show how you're managing food safety hazards in your business. So hazards you need to consider are chemical hazards, so things such as cleaning chemicals, physical hazards such as foreign bodies, microbiological hazards such as the bacteria in your food, and allergens. The regulations are flexible though, so your procedures can be in proportion with the nature and scope of your business. So as a minimum, a small market stall selling low-risk foods would only have to have very simple procedures or records in place. Higher risk businesses might need to have a more in-depth system, such as a Safer Food, Better Business or a hazard analysis study. But again, you know, it's worth discussing with us what's most suitable for your business. But as I've said, a low risk market stall would probably just have to have very simple procedures in place, so don't let that put you off. Allergen management. Allergic reactions can be life-threatening. There are currently around 10 people per year in the UK that die from allergens present in food or drink. It's essential, therefore, that allergens are well managed in your business and that accurate information is provided to your customers about the ingredients containing allergens. You're legally required to display a sign inviting customers to inform you if they have any queries about the ingredients in your products. So there are 14 food allergens that are required to be declared. You probably see them on signs, but if I just mention them just quickly. So these are cereals containing gluten, celery, crustaceans, eggs, fish, lupin, milk, mollusks, mustard, peanuts, sesame, soybeans, and tree nuts. If you sell unpackaged loose foods, then the allergen information can be provided verbally. If your foods are packaged, like Ellie mentioned, prior to the customer requesting the product, so under Natasha's law, which came out in October last year, you are legally required to label the food with the name of the food, a full list of ingredients, and any allergens highlighted in bold. Food labelling generally does fall to the remit of trading standards. So if you have any specific labelling queries, they would be best placed to offer advice, but we can pass any queries on to them as well. So obviously personal hygiene is extremely important when you're operating and selling food and drink from a market stall. So to keep food safe, it's essential for you and your staff to have high standards of personal hygiene at all times. Regular effective hand washing is essential, particularly after visiting the toilet, after taking a break or going for a cigarette, before preparing any food, after handling raw food, and just generally after touching any surfaces or objects that are dirty. If you handle open foods on your stall, then you're advised to use a portable hand washing unit. For lower risk businesses, you could provide a washing up bowl with a flask of water, hand soap, and paper towels are preferred for hand drying rather than a fabric towel. If you handle pre-packed foods, it may be adequate to provide hand gel or antibacterial wipes. Suitable protective clothing must be worn, such as an apron that's obviously clean. You should tie any hair back. You should avoid touching your face. Obviously, staff shouldn't smoke, spit, chew gum or sneeze when handling food. Jewellery should be kept to a minimum, and any cuts to the hands or arms should be covered with a waterproof plaster. If you're suffering from an infectious disease which could be passed on through food, for example, sickness or diarrhoea, then you must be excluded from work until 48 hours following your last bout of symptoms as a minimum. So in terms of transporting your food and displaying your food, so when you transport your food from home to your stall, you must prevent it from being contaminated. So for example, with dirt or bacteria. So it's especially important to make sure products are transported in packaging or in clean containers. Any chilled or frozen foods should be kept at the correct temperature, and you can of course use cool boxes or ice packs to achieve this. When transporting food as well, you should make sure any raw and ready-to-eat foods are kept separate. So when your products are displayed on the stall, to minimise the risk of the food being contaminated, you must protect your products from being contaminated from obviously the public or the environment. So you should wrap the food or cover the food if possible. If your products are unwrapped, you should use a perspex screen or a sneeze guard just to keep the product safe. I think it looks good as well for customers if your products are covered rather than have them open, because customers maybe won't choose to buy products that aren't protected. As I've mentioned, you must always, when displaying food, you should always make sure any raw and ready-to-eat foods are kept separate. You shouldn't place any foods directly on or near to the floor, and just generally avoid any unnecessary handling. So when it comes to temperature control, you must not keep foods at temperatures that might allow any bacteria present in the foods to multiply to unsafe levels. Perishable foods that need to be kept at refrigerated temperatures to keep them safe should ideally be stored between 1 and 5 degrees, ideally below 8 degrees. So if ice packs are used to keep products chilled, then the temperature really must be monitored to make sure that the blocks are effective, they haven't defrosted, and obviously they'll need to be changed regularly. So perishable foods can actually be kept out of temperature control for just one single period of 4 hours, but obviously you need to take into consideration time that's taken for the food to be prepared or transported. After the single period of 4 hours, the food should be disposed of. So temperature monitoring at your stall should be included in your food safety management system. If you're cooking or reheating any food, it's essential that it's taken to a temperature above 75 degrees C. And then if you are hot holding the food after it's been cooked or reheated, it needs to be kept, it can't fall below 63 degrees to be held hot. And again, ideally, you should be taking something to monitor those temperatures, such as a temperature probe. In terms of the stall, so the stall used to display your food must be of sound condition and surfaces must be smooth so it can be cleaned effectively. So if you're using cleaning chemicals, we advise that sanitisers meet the British standard, which is the BSEN 1276, and that the manufacturer's guidelines are followed with regard to the use of the product and the contact time. If you need to wash any utensils at all, you should just arrange to take, again, a bowl, a flask and some water to wash any utensils. If you are using water on your stall, you just need to make sure that it's from a safe potable supply, such as the mains water. And if you're using any containers to transport the water, you should just make sure you remember to clean those periodically as well with a suitable chemical, such as a solution of Milton. So all registered food businesses, I think, is there a slide on inspection, Danny?
This one.
Yes. So all registered food businesses are inspected to check that you're meeting food safety legislation and producing or selling safe food. Inspections usually take place at the premises or, for example, at your home if the foods are prepared there. However, we do visit the markets from time to time just to check compliance and offer any support and advice to the traders. So following an inspection, you'll receive a food hygiene rating score, which ranges from 0 up to 5. 5 being very good and 0 I think is major improvement necessary. The rating is then uploaded and displayed on the Food Standards Agency's National Food Hygiene Rating website, and your inspection frequency is risk-based, so that depends on the nature of your business and the level of compliance. So lastly, just to mention about samples. So if you are offering any samples at all, just to make sure that, again, that they're protected from contamination, that they're stored hygienically so that, you know, people can't just go and stick their hands in. And ideally, it's a good idea to use things like cocktail sticks or tongs so that members of the public aren't touching the food when they're picking it up. So other than that, I think that's everything. I was just going to mention as well, obviously, if you're selling alcohol, then you probably need a license for that. So you would need to contact our licensing department. But I think I've included a slide with a few links. I don't know if you got that, Danny, just with useful links so to the Food Standards Agency's website.
I think it's this slide here.
Yeah. So if the presentation's sent out, so you'll be able to click on the links to register for any online training. There is actually some on the link there. There's some free allergen training, which might be useful. There's a link for the Safer Food Better Business Pack if that's relevant to anybody, and there's also a link just to trading standards if there's any particular food labelling issues that they'd be able to help with. But I think that's everything. Thanks for listening, and any questions, just give us a shout anytime.
Thank you. So next we've got Leslie. I think I just need to unmute you. Sorry. Leslie, you should be able to come off mute now.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. I'm Leslie Robinson, Business Support Manager with Cumbria Chamber of Commerce and Cumbria Business Growth Hub. Some of the things I'm going to touch on have previously been talked about, so I'll be as brief as I can and I'll move on as quickly as I can. I'm just going to turn my camera off so you can't all see me reading my notes. So next slide, please, Danny. So the things I'm going to talk about today are the top 10 tips, things to consider when starting a market stall business. So next slide, please. So the first one is do your research. So market stalls are a great and relatively cheap way to test the water and gauge demand for your products. A market stall can make a lot of money and gain great exposure for your brand if done right. On a good day, the people attending the market are your exact customer, they relate to your brand, are interested to find out more, engage in conversation, and most importantly, buy. Before starting out, visit some local markets, look at the types of visitors, and more importantly, buyers of similar products. Visit the market you're looking to be part of and see what stalls already exist. Is your product different enough to drive sales? Consider if a market stall is a stepping stone to your own premises further down the line. What is your motivation to have and set up your own market stall? One of the major benefits of a market stall is being able to interact with your customer, hear what type of person your brand attracts, get an understanding of best-selling items and what your audience really thinks of your product. Second point, it's important to understand and account for the fact you won't always make sales. Levels will vary depending on footfall, where your pitch is, the product you're selling, the time of year, people's disposable income levels. Product profits will need to be evenly distributed over the year to cover quieter times. So it's important to know the levels of product needed to sell to ensure you make sufficient profit. But what costs and outgoings do you need to consider? So there's transportation, stock, pitch costs, licensing, insurance, equipment such as generators, display stands, card reader, refrigeration, printed materials, signage and website, to name just a few. You'll also need to think about a contingency plan in place for things such as COVID, when markets weren't able to take place. What would you do if that happens? Where would you get your income from? Third point, at the very least, your business plan should include an explanation of whether you're setting your market stall up as a hobby, a side hustle or a business venture, a description of the products you're going to sell and why you've chosen to sell them, proof that the market you've chosen is a viable place to sell your stock, details of how much you're looking to sell your product for and what profit margins you expect to achieve. A SWOT analysis is also a good exercise to carry out, looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, as well as a competitor analysis. So that should be part of your business plan as well. You should think about your income, outgoings and expenditure, but don't worry, support is an offer to help you develop a business plan of your own for your business, which I'll move on to a bit later. Point 4, you can't just arrive at your local market, set up your stall and start selling. There are a number of rules and regulations that you need to research and adhere to before you start trading. You need to obtain a market stall trader's license. Your local authority can tell you how much these will cost, and you'll also need to apply for a license through them. You'll need to register for self-assessment with HMRC so you can complete your own tax returns or supply your accountant with the required information. Make sure you keep a solid record of your income and any receipts, invoices for purchases. Again, we can help ensure that you keep the correct records and claim everything that you should be claiming under your tax return. You'll be heavily fined if you don't register for self-assessment within 3 months of starting your business. And there's also a couple of insurances you might want to take a look at as well. Public liability insurance to cover you if a customer injures themselves at your stall. Product liability insurance to cover you if any items or product you sell cause harm to the buyer. And employer's liability insurance. That's a legal requirement if you hire staff, even if casual helpers. The fifth point, consider your product range and pricing. Over time, you'll find out your best-selling products and you'll ensure you have enough stock of those items at each market. Starting out, you may not be so sure what will sell well and what won't. It's important not to try and have a huge range of products on offer. You can't expect to make a sale to everyone who stops at your stall. The beauty of a market stall, however, is that you can ask for feedback and adapt accordingly. It's a great way to also trial new products and ranges, again being able to gather that all-important customer feedback. The main barrier to purchasing will be price. Can you sell product at a price that people actually want and can afford to pay? Your initial research into other markets and stalls will really help you understand the types of customers likely to visit your stall. Consider a range of pricing points. There should be ideally 3. So your bread and butter items are your first one, a low price that drives people in. You have a high turnover on these products, but may make less profit. Then there's the mid-range price point. There'll be items that are specialist yet available and have an even margin, meaning more profit and hopefully make up the bulk of what you sell. And finally, your top-end products with the wow factor. These are things many people won't buy. These are things many people want to buy, but not everyone can afford. They generate fewer sales at a higher profit, but have the advantage of drawing people in. Everyone has access to some level of social media platform, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok. All are very different and reach different audiences, but all can be used to build your brand. Social media can be a great way to attract new customers. Consider offering special promotions through social media channels and analyse its success. It's a free and really powerful tool when used wisely and has the potential to increase your stall's footfall. Posting images from your stall, footfall, only when good. Customers interacting with your products all help build brand awareness and are so easy to share. You can also schedule in posts, meaning you don't have to think about it. Planning ahead allows you to take into account seasonal offers, pitch information, special events at any of the markets you're attending. Customer reviews can also be encouraged so others can view what people really think of your product. You just need to be prepared for any negative reviews and deal with them professionally and quickly. Again, we've got specialist advisors and we run courses on social media training as well. Have a business website. It's now essential to have a business website where potential customers can learn about you and what you do before deciding to buy. If your product appears on your website, make sure you show it in the best possible light. Contact details should appear so customers can get in touch easily. Prices are important, along with product descriptions, and if you do food, ingredients listed. Ensure you refresh website content, and if an item is out of stock, make sure that you say that to avoid disappointment. Any offers which have ended need to be removed, and if you have an online shop, make sure people can place an order, pay for the order, and expect delivery in a timely manner. Any issues need to be communicated quickly to avoid an unhappy customer. If you don't have an e-commerce facility, is this something you need to think about? Branding on your website and social media channels needs to be consistent and matched so people can easily recognise your brand. Promotional materials. You don't need to go to the lengths of producing a full product brochure, but you do need to think about a few cheaper solutions which will help drive people to your stall. So signage is a must for any stall. This allows people to become familiar with your brand name and logo. Think about your business name. Does it say what you do? Would people be able to recognise the services and products you offer from your business name? Branded bags are a good way of spreading your name across the local area. Make sure you include your brand name and an image or slogan that emphasises the products you sell so people know why they should come to you. Business cards with your social media links, contact details and website address so people can browse at their leisure if they don't purchase on the day. And leaflets are something to consider that people can take away. They're invaluable for drawing people to your website and encouraging repeat or first-time purchases. 9, payment options. This has already been covered, really. It was just about having a card machine, as not many people nowadays carry cash and want to pay by card, especially since we've all got used to doing that with COVID. And finally, customer service. Giving customers an experience they will want to repeat and share with others. Be friendly to your customers, engage and listen to them. Greet them with a smile, be respectful, courteous and grateful. They will spread the word for you if the experience is good, but also when it's bad. Don't stand looking disinterested and unengaged. Mobile phones have a place, but not constantly in your hand. Try not to leave your stall and go chatting to other stall holders because you could miss a potential customer. Make sure you can answer any questions that customers may have around the materials or ingredients in your product, shelf life, green credentials, sizing. Again, we've got a dedicated customer service advisor who would be able to help running group sessions or individual sessions. Now, I did ask our team of business advisors to help with the content for the presentation. The next section are some of the important tips they've come up with that aren't necessarily business related, but I think are worth thinking about. So have you considered wearing support tights or thick socks as well as comfortable clothes? Stand on a board of wood, we lose heat through our feet. If you use cash, have a body belt. Wear your product if it's appropriate. So if you're selling some clothing, wear it, let people see what it looks like. Pack snacks and lots of water. Make sure you have bags, packaging for your customers if they're buying something they want to carry it away with them. Next one, please. Again, business cards so your customers can find you again. And the last one was from one of our marketing advisors, a QR code so people can follow your website if they can't pay for product on the day. So the next slide, please. So what can we offer through Cumbria Business Growth Hub? We offer a business startup support programme for anybody looking to start their own business or in the first 3 years of trading. We run until June 2023. It's 12-hour support made up of one-to-one advisor time. We run a 3-day business training course, other free training, a part-funded subsidy, and we signpost to other support. Next slide, please, Danny.
Sorry, can you still see that?
Yeah. We've got a team of, we've got about 40 business advisors based around the county. I won't read the whole slide, but you can see the areas and the specialisms that the advisors can cover. So whatever your business and whatever sector you're working in, we can support you. Next slide, please. Then we've got a 3-day business startup course, which runs every other month, 3 days online. Again, the content of what's covered in the sessions is on there. You can choose to attend either one or all 3 days. Next slide, please. We've got a part-funded subsidy. It's 40%. It's actually up to £2,000 now for new projects. So it's things like website design, SEO, videos, photography, marketing. We can't pay for the print or of the leaflets, but we can pay for the design, HR, legal, accountancy, accreditation such as SALSA, ISO. Next slide, please. And then we've got a dedicated startup section on our website, cumbriagrowthhub.co.uk, which has got loads of useful resources, links, case studies. We have a business support newsletter, which goes out every month. There's some information on our business advisors, so you can read a bit more about them and the support they can offer. Next slide, please. And then the next couple of slides are just some examples of the website. So there's toolkits we've got on there. There's a case study there. And just what the pages look like. And we've also just launched Cumbria Chamber Enterprise Network, which is a network for new entrepreneurs and young businesses. We're looking to bring them together, offering workshops, seminars, member-only access. And when the money comes in from the business community, we'll be offering some small business grants to Cumbrian businesses of between £1,000 and £5,000. And that's all I've got to say, really, in a quick whistle-stop tour of what we can offer and things to think about when starting your own market stall.
Great, thank you, Leslie. So that's everyone from today. Like I've said before, I'll send out the slides to everyone after this has ended, and I'll also just send all the useful links if you need them and any contact details that might be useful. There isn't any questions in the comment section. If anyone wants to ask a question, you can ask now. I'll just give it a minute or so, just in case. Sorry. Or alternatively, if you didn't want to ask the question in the comment section, you can just email me. I emailed everyone before the presentation, so you should have that, and then I can direct you to the right person. So yeah, that's everything. So if that's okay, we can just close there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.